Imagine you were lucky enough to go to a conference that was entirely a C++ conference and to have a panel convened on which you had all of the big names of C++. Say the fella who invented it, and the people on the standards committee, and the people who are implementing the compilers and the libraries. And you were to be able to ask them, what's the number one thing I can do to make my code better as a C++ developer today? Over half of them would say, treat warnings as errors. Now, considering that the compiler has warnings and errors, and that the committee spends a fair amount of time on which misbehaviors should be counted as warnings and which as errors, which should prevent your code from compiling, that's what an error does, and which should just be in the output for you to look at if you care, which is what a warning does. And then they say, yeah, but I don't want that distinction. I want everything to be told to me. That's kind of an interesting position to take. Why doesn't the language just treat everything as errors then? What they're saying is, it's okay for the compiler to be generous in what it accepts, but as a developer, you should be completely compulsive about getting all of your code utterly warning free. And the only way to force yourself to get your code warning free is to have warnings be treated as errors so that the compilation will not succeed if you have any. Now you're thinking, what if I have a warning that I can't get rid of? Well, you can always get rid of warnings. First of all, you can fix your code so that it doesn't do the warning thing anymore. And secondly, you can put what's called a pragma into your source code that says, in effect, I know the following line causes error 1234, or warning 1234, and I don't want you to tell me about it, compiler. That is way better than a comment. It is going to turn the warning off, and at the same time, it leaves this marker in your code for other humans to say, I know what I'm doing here. Remember, as we first talked about a million years ago with round bracket casting, if you hold your hand up and say you know what you're doing, the compiler will let you do it. Doing things thoughtfully and deliberately is fine. But what are the benefits of turning ordinary warnings that you could ignore into errors that you can't ignore? You best to see it in action. It usually means you've made a thinking mistake. You might be wrong. If it just slides by as a warning that you didn't even look at, you don't stop to think about whether you're wrong or right. You're probably right. We're all smart people. But it's worth taking a minute to be sure. And then when you are sure, because you have to put in a pragma to suppress the warning, no one else has to go through that thought process. You're able to tell people, this is okay. I'm doing this on purpose. I've thought about it, and it's the right thing to do. Now, just mechanically stuffing pragmas everywhere you got a warning to make them go away, that's pointless. That might as well just leave warnings as warnings. Thinking, deciding, and documenting is the right thing to do. C++ compilers, in addition to having the ability to treat warnings as errors, actually have what's called a warning level, which you can raise. The default is 3. You can raise it to 4, and then beyond 4 is all. When you raise it to 4, you will be warned about things you weren't being warned about before. And when you look at some of them, you might say to yourself, yeah, I probably shouldn't be doing that. So the combination of raising your warning level to 4 and treating warnings as errors means that a lot more of the compiler's opinion about your code is going to get surfaced to you. You're going to have your own thoughts about that code, which you'll express with pragmas. And between the two of you, you're going to make cleaner code with less stupidity in it. And of course, I have some code with stupidity in it to show this to you.